tool number 1. Magnet cleaner. This one I like because it floats if it comes unlodged. It's really strong too. Use the scruffy side on the inside, the soft side on the outside, and it works really good if you use it once or twice a week. But if you go like a week or 2 without cleaning, you're gonna need something a little stronger. Cleaning tool number 2, you might need to brace yourself for it, because it's a little scary. It's the razor blade. But we're all adults, right? We can handle a razor blade. These are good for really hard stuff like coralline algae or just algae that's been stuck on there for like a week or 2 because you haven't cleaned in a while. When you get it out of the package, it has like oil on it. That's to keep it from rusting. You want to wash that oil off. Try not to use soap or anything. Just try to wash it off without cutting yourself. Like this, like this, like this. And make sure it's all off so you don't pollute your water at all. But this is probably my favorite method. You have to be careful when you're getting too close to like the borders because you will cut away parts of the stuff that holds your tin together. Now that we've got the inside of the glass nice and clean, what about the stuff inside the tank? Like, sometimes you gotta scrub those rocks because they're getting maybe star polyps where you don't want star polyps. I like to use a barbecue scrubber, you know, for the grills. You can use the soft side, but usually I'm going in for something heavy duty, so I use the metal side. Make sure it's nice and clean. You don't know what kind of oils are on it, like with the razor blades, so just get it clean, scrub those rocks where you need to scrub them, and that's pretty much all there is to it. So now that we've got all this disgusting stuff floating around in the water, like star polyp parts and algae, all that delicious stuff, we need to do a water change and we need to get our water ready for a water change. I use RO water that we have our own filter that's in our laundry room that we use, and I use instant ocean salt. Here's the RO filter that we use. We've been using it for about a year now and it works great. This is the good water. We bring it out into a bucket. This bucket has overflowed many a times because it takes hours for this bucket to fill up, so it's easy to forget about it. So if you use your own RO filter, set a timer. This part is where the not so great water comes out. It still isn't that bad, so we take it and we put it right into our washer machine and we use the water off from that, so we're not being wasteful. Now that we've got our nice clean RO water, we've got our salt, which I said was Reef Instant Ocean, and we have corals, so we like the one with calcium in it because calcium is really good for corals. If you only have fish, you can use the one in the purple bucket, but this one's the orange bucket. So we're going to start mixing. This process can take some time, especially if you don't know how much you're going to use. It has instructions on it. You can taste it in the air. We've been doing it for a while, so I start out with 4 scoops and then I mix it up and I let it sit for a little while, and then I measure it with our hydrometer. We just have a regular one like this. We're gonna upgrade to a nice fancy dancy one soon, but we just haven't gotten around to it. We probably should have done it years ago. This hasn't let us down. So if you just want to use this, it's cheap, it's easy to come by, just use this. Alright, I think maybe that was 5 scoops, but make sure not to get any water in your salt because it will turn into a brick. And then you'll have to use a chisel to get it out. I know by experience. And now we let it sit for a little while so the salt can dissolve into the water. While we're letting that salt set, we're going to take a reading of the salt that's in our tank to see how high or how low we need to make it, just to get this nice and even salinity. So here's our hydrometer. I'm going to show you how to use it in the tank. When you submerge it, make sure you go down quite a ways, at least 6 inches, because the salt up here is going to be a lot less than the salt down here. Alright, as you can see, my salt is a little high, so I'm just going to make it a teeny tiny bit lower than the middle point. So it's been sitting for about 5 minutes. Let's take the reading on it. La la la. It's still really low. I'm shooting for 1.024. It's a nice middle spot for your corals and your fish and everyone to be nice and happy. So I'm going to add another scoop with my not wet hand. And we stir some more! Now that we're letting all of that salt dissolve in our water, we need to clean the lid of our tank because it gets dusty, it gets gross, and all this stuff is not wonderful snow. It is what we call salt creep. It's from the evaporation of the water in the tank depositing all the salt on the lid of your tank. You don't want any of this to fall in your tank because it could cause the salinity to spike and kill some of your stuff. So I'm just going to go rinse this off in the sink and not use soap, just water in my hands to make sure it's nice and clean. And when you're washing it, be careful around these edges because it is glass and it will cut you. And that's it! Let's check this one more time. Hopefully one more time. Blah, 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 blah. So you want to empty out some water so that you can make sure you're holding it level up against this line. And as we can see, I'm a little low, which is what I wanted to be because this is a little high. So we're going to bring it out so it'll be nice and even in the end. Now we got to scoop water out of there, into a bucket, this water in there. Let's go. Now we start scooping the dirty water out. Make sure you're not getting water on your light fixtures or any of your outlets or any of that stuff because electrocution is not good. Scoop out just as much as you think you need to take out. You don't always have to do a huge water change. Sometimes you just need to do a little, and sometimes you just need to cap it off. I'm going to do a fairly big water change. I'm going to get down to here. You don't need to see that. So I'll see you in a couple minutes. Now I need to summon my Amazonian strength to pick up the bucket that's already pretty much empty, but it's still heavy to me, and dump the rest of it in here. Not that heavy. My Amazonian strength must be working. Whoop. And that's pretty perfect. If you don't get it perfect, you can always put some of the dirty water back in, or you can mix new water. I'm too lazy to do that. To get rid of your dirty water, you can just dump it on your stoops. If you got little weeds and grass and stuff growing where you don't want to go, dump it right on that and it'll kill them all. Just don't dump it in your garden. Now we're gonna clean the outside of the tank. I almost got you. Never spray anything with ammonia in it near your tanks because they will crash. Everything will die. Go and spray it somewhere else, like in the kitchen. We have a set of paper towels with the window cleaner on it and a set of paper towels without it because when you scrub it like this, you don't want to let it dry like that. You're going to want to dry it yourself or else it will be all streaky. Whoa! How nice! Now your tank's going to look a little cloudy for the rest of the day. Tomorrow, it will be the most beautiful tank you have ever seen.